I have now, quite sadly, seen every single Debbie Reynolds film. There are one or two really obscure ones that don't exist anywhere at all, but out of everything that is available, The Gift of Love is the last one that I had to see. And to be honest, I wasn't that enthusiastic about it because it's about a young boy who is a promising football player. And I don't care about football, that is American football, but actually, having watched it, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's the film I wanted to end my Debbie Reynolds journey with. Not that my journey with Debbie Reynolds is over, but I actually was very moved by it. I'm going to try and not spoil it by going into that much detail about what happens, but it is apparently based on a true story, so you may already be familiar with it. The film was released in 1999, directed by John Korty, written by Anna Sandor. We have Debbie Reynolds playing Shirlee Allison. We also have Elden Henson playing Daniel Huffman. And Daniel Huffman, as I said, is a teenager who's a passionate football player looking forward to hopefully getting a scholarship at college. And then there are various problems within their family dynamic. To be honest, I feel like that added a bit of background fluff. Obviously, if it's based on a true story, then great, put it in. But I feel like there are certain characters in this with certain behaviours that they could have done more with, or maybe could have just stripped them back because they didn't really add anything to the development of the narrative. So I won't say any more about basically any other character in this. Everything seems to be going okay for Daniel. And then Shirlee, his grandmother, becomes really unwell. And Daniel may be able to help her, but at the cost of giving up his future as a football player. And with a spoiler warning, I will discuss that in a moment to explain what I mean. But it's actually really moving. Yes, on the one hand, it's about a young boy who wants to play football, but it's more about the sacrifices that some people, some really selfless people, are willing to make in order to give the gift of life. I know it's called the gift of love, but it's also the gift of life to somebody you love, to somebody who has helped to raise you and helped to mold you into the person you are. And it's worth pointing out, this will make more sense when I explain it with a spoiler warning, but Daniel has to try and make this decision about sacrificing his career for his grandmother. But it's also really important to mention that at no point does the film ever suggest that he has to do this. No character in the film puts pressure on him to do this. No character in the film ever suggested he did this. And I think that that's really important because while it's important to encourage the viewer to think about what actually matters in life, it's also important to point out that it should be that individual's decision and nobody should apply any pressure to force a person to do that. It's very moving. It's very emotional. I didn't love every second of it, but once it got to the point, I did become very curious about what would happen, and I did find it very moving. So, spoilers from now, I won't discuss the ending. I still will not discuss the ending, but I will discuss what Shirlee's illness is and what Daniel was going to try and decide. Shirlee is diabetic, and it's revealed that she has, I believe it was 5% of her kidney use left. Only 5% of her kidneys are working as they should be. And she's on dialysis, and basically the dialysis doesn't respond. Apparently it is a thing that some people will just not take to dialysis, which I didn't know. And Daniel, through his own research, realizes that he could be a match as a kidney donor. I'm welling up thinking about it. He could be a match as a kidney donor for his grandmother. And with this strong bond with his grandmother, he decides that this is something he wants to do. But it's made very clear to him that if he does this, he will not be able to play football anymore. And he's basically trying to decide if he should prolong his grandmother's life, but give up his career, basically giving up everything he has worked towards, all of his dreams, his entire future as he can currently see it, in order to have however many more years with his grandmother. And I couldn't imagine being in that situation. And I'm genuinely getting emotional thinking about it. What would you do If you could save who is potentially the most important person in your life, but giving up everything you envisioned for your future. Of course, your future is what you make it, and he will find other passions. And, nobody's life is revolving around one thing. It shouldn't ever do that. But if somebody said to me, you will never be able to write again, but you can save a family member, it would be difficult. And it's moving. It's genuinely, it got to me more than I was expecting. And that's not just because Debbie Reynolds is playing this sick character. Most of my emotions actually came through Daniel's struggles trying to work out what he wanted to do and what the best thing to do was. And as I said, when I kind of sat down to watch this, I thought, football, I don't care. But even though football is one of the most important things to Daniel, it's not a film about football. It's really moving. I thoroughly recommend it. As I said, it's not the best Debbie Reynolds film. There are others I would have rather ended the film journey with. But having said that, it completely exceeded all of my expectations. Moved me in ways that I wasn't expecting. And if you haven't seen it, I thoroughly recommend Gift of Love.